took me some effort to regain my consciousness. I passed out, didn't I? Might have hit the wall too hard. Where am I, anyway? It appears to be some sort of closed box. What was that word? A room? I think so. At least it has some color in it instead of blinding darkness. I like that. At first I was curious. I could stretch my arm and feel the texture of the little room. I could see the mild shadows on the wall. I could even hear voices from the outside. I couldn't make most sense of it, but at least it gave me some understanding of what was going on out there. But after some time passed, I realized that the outside was repeating itself. Like a broken record, with minor changes, but it was the same, again and again. I grew weary of that revelation. It felt like time was passing by, and yet it was stuck in a loop. I wasn't able to understand it. So I went back to my slumber. Until something unexpected happened. Someone touched my hand. I got startled, and in a blink of an eye, I was back in the abyss. I panicked. A lot. When I regained my sanity, I realized I wasn't able to do anything to get out. Without direction, I was stuck here. Again. Forever. In silence. But I was wrong.
Have you ever thought about a world
I heard voices
where
again.
everything is exactly the same?
Familiar voices.
How this might work faster. Everything functions perfectly without you.
His brilliance was irreplaceable, and one day he vanished without a trace. It makes sense why Asgard took so long to hire a new royal scientist.
They say he created the core. One day, his experiments went wrong and...
The thought terrifies me.
How can I say so without fear?
Will all of us end up the same way?
Well, I didn't gossip. After all, it's rude to talk about someone who's listening.
I heard them, and I followed. I was back at the wall, but instead there was a rift. I wasn't sure if it was a bad or good thing, but for now, there were other thoughts on my mind. The voices, they were new. I think I heard them before, but at the same time I wasn't able to remember who they were. My head felt like a mess. I hope that feeling will pass. For now, I should focus. I must get back. The rift felt like it wasn't supposed to let me pass. Not like I needed its permission. I was back in my room. That was a good thing. But I was not alone. The room was supposed to be empty. I was there for a great amount of time. Less than my existence in the void, and yet there was a person. They were very frightened, but deep inside, I sensed something familiar. Somehow I knew they would never leave the room, even if I tried to drive them away. I asked them who they were, and for how long they had been here. They appeared to be surprised. Perhaps it was my voice. It was very harsh, since I had never used it before. Instead of answering, they tried to reach for something. Something that wasn't there. And yet the way they did it, it was too confident. They looked at me, troubled. It seemed like their ability to communicate had disappeared. They understood my question, so I suppose we would have a yes or no conversation. I explained my thoughts to them and they seemed happy about the solution. Mostly happy. They were still very nervous about the whole situation. For a while we were silent. I couldn't find anything to ask them. I was just happy to have some company. After they had calmed down, the person approached me. There was some excitement in their attitude. It was just like a feeling of success after solving a very hard problem. Or a puzzle. The happiness they felt upon seeing me was too unusual for a random encounter. "Have you been looking for me?" A small nod for an answer. "But why?" They were definitely questioning my intelligence. On second thought, I couldn't blame them. Forgive me. It's still hard to think straight. I haven't spoken to anyone in a very long time. Please, give me a moment to collect my thoughts." They sat by my side with a reassuring smile. I tried my best to set up a conversation. "Do we know each other?" They shook their head. "So, you must have seen me at some point." A simple nod. "Have you been in this room before?" A nod again. He got excited. Allow me to think for a while. If they had seen me in this room, it could mean that I should have seen them at some point as well. My head felt very hazy when I tried to access my memory. It was almost like the void was living there now. Not exactly the most pleasant idea. But still, even when I tried, I couldn't find anything that might have been connected to this person. Supposedly it happened while I was resting. "I am sorry, young one. It seems I cannot remember anything about you." They smiled. I guess they weren't surprised to hear my answer. Although I noticed a glimpse of sadness in their emotions, I felt like I wasn't meeting their expectations. Somewhere deep within me, I knew I should have seen them at least once. But I just couldn't remember. That realization made me feel empty. Was I forgetting something? I didn't think so. And yet, it felt like that. We sat there, in comfortable silence, until eventually they had to leave. They were very reluctant about this, quietly standing there. So I tried to cheer them up, inviting them to return at some point. See you soon.
You feel disappointed. Somewhere deep inside, you had hopes about that mysterious person, since you had met them under different circumstances. That maybe something was different about that person as well. But he forgot about your existence, just like everybody else. Maybe the flower was right and there's nothing interesting in this game. Everything is always the same, and yet it's so disappointing. You've put so much effort into finding any clues that'll make the door appear. You feel like you don't want to abandon this idea. But even so, you have your own little mission, and that includes reaching the king at some point. So you must press on, and complete this game. As the cold wind of the ruins ran around you, you realized that you were missing something. It's not here. Huh? It's somewhere else. And you know exactly where it is. Realizing that you've made a difference fills you with determination.
Golly, you sure took your time back there. And here I was, thinking that you grew tired from your constant resets and just gave up. It could be nice. For me. But you wouldn't do anything nice for me, would you? So what's the holdup? You've seen something that changed your mind about this game?
You've decided not to tell Flowey.
Oh, so you're keeping secrets. I like secrets. I have some of my own. Dark, very dark secrets. I can share my secrets if you tell me yours. It's not like I'm capable of doing anything with this game while you're around. So you can tell me everything.
You remained silent.
So, if that's the case, where have you lost your scarf?
You remember that it was... Oh, my poor child. Are you all right? Come here. Let me help you.
This is going to be interesting.